sin. It's a word we all know, right? It's loaded with thousands of years of cultural, religious, baggage. But what if our common understanding of it, completely misses the point? We're going to take a look across history, across all these different traditions, to find a universal pattern that's been hiding in plain sight. And honestly, this pattern could change how you see just about everything. So let's just dive right in. What does this word sin actually mean? We use it all the time, but its real definition? It's been one of the most fought over ideas in all of human history. Think about it. Is it a rebellion against a god? Or maybe a state of being impure? Is it a debt that you have to pay back? Or is it just a mistake, an error? Some traditions even talk about it like it's this huge cosmic force that literally enslaves us. And then modern psychology might just look at it and say, well, it's a glitch in our own minds. All this confusion is exactly why we need to dig a little deeper. To get to the bottom of this, we have to go back to the beginning. We need to crack the code by looking at the original languages and what the words actually meant. And this is where the first real clues start to pop up. Okay, our first stop is ancient Hebrew. The most common word they used for sin is ket. And you know what it literally means? To miss the mark. It's an archery term. Imagine an archer aiming for the bullseye and the arrow just misses. Ket isn't really about being evil. It's about failing to hit your intended goal. It's an error. Now, let's jump over to the Greek used in the New Testament. We find an almost perfect parallel. The word is hamartia. And guess what? It also means to miss the mark. But here's where we see a fascinating evolution. The Apostle Paul took this simple idea of an error and he personified it, talking about sin with a capital S as this massive cosmic power that holds all of humanity captive. All right, now let's shift gears completely. Over in the Dharmic traditions, in Sanskrit, the key term is papa. Now, this has nothing to do with offending a personal god. Instead, it's an action that violates cosmic law. It generates negative karma that traps you in samsara, that endless, painful cycle of death and rebirth. The consequences are literally built right into the action itself. And check this out. In the Quran, a common word is dhamp, and it comes from a root word meaning tail. What a brilliant image, right? A sin is an action, and its consequences follow you around, attached and inescapable, just like an animal's tail. It really reinforces that idea of built-in consequences. So, we've got an error, a cosmic power, a violation of law, and an act with a tail. On the surface, these definitions seem all over the place, totally diverse. But could there be a deeper pattern connecting all of them? And here's where we find our first huge clue. It's not in the definitions of the words, but in the stories. It turns out that across pretty much every major tradition, the story of sin and redemption follows the exact same plot. And this is that master narrative. It always starts with a state of original wholeness, of unity. Then something happens, a fragmentation. You can call it a fall, a separation, something that breaks that unity. That break directly leads to suffering, and that suffering is what kicks off a journey of transformation to get back to where we started. The story always ends with that wholeness being restored, a lot of times to an even higher level than it was before. And the really wild part is that this 5-act play isn't just in one or two traditions. You find it absolutely everywhere. In Judaism, Christianity, Islam, in Hinduism and Buddhism, you even see it in philosophies like Taoism. This kind of shocking universality suggests we're not just talking about theology here. We're talking about something much deeper, maybe a fundamental map of the human condition itself. So if the words are all different, but the story is always the same, what is the underlying dynamic going on here? Well, this brings us to the solution, a kind of unified theory that explains the core pattern of sin in a totally new way. Here it is. The core idea is this. Sin is an action that optimizes a local or immediate benefit while sub-optimizing a global or ultimate connection. Let's break that down. In simpler terms, it's any time we choose a short-term, small-picture win that ends up causing a long-term, big-picture loss. It's this local win, global loss pattern. Let's make this really concrete so you can see it. In a theistic worldview, a selfish act gets you something now. That's the local win. But it disconnects you from God. That's the global loss. Psychologically, think about addiction. The immediate high is the local win, but it completely destroys your long-term health and well-being. And socially, a company might chase short-term profits by polluting a river, but that harms the entire community. You see? In every single case, the pattern is identical. Here's another really cool way to look at this, using an analogy from physics. Think of sin as entropy. It's a force that increases chaos, disorder, and pulls things apart in any system. It's like static on a radio. So what's the solution? Well, what many traditions call grace is the opposite. It's negentropy. It's like a clear signal cutting through that static, an organizing force that brings things back together and restores order. Okay, so why does any of this ancient stuff matter today? Well, because once you see this pattern, this local win, global loss dynamic, you start to see it absolutely everywhere in our modern world. This completely reframes the whole concept. We're not talking about some list of outdated religious rules anymore. We're talking about a fundamental design principle for how any complex system works, whether that's a person, a company, or an entire society. It's basically the principle that determines whether that system is going to thrive or just collapse. So let's look at this global glitch in action right now. The environmental crisis, it's driven by prioritizing short-term profits, that's the local win, over the long-term health of the planet. What about political polarization? We get that immediate satisfaction of feeling right, our local win, but at the cost of fracturing our entire society. Even social media algorithms, they are designed to optimize for our immediate clicks and engagement, a tiny local win, while degrading our collective mental health, a devastating global loss. And that's really the final question I want to leave you with. Using this framework, what other local wins can you see playing out in our world? In our technology, in our economy, maybe even in your own life, that might be causing the biggest global losses. It's an ancient pattern for sure, but the stakes have never been higher than they are today.